This section is the foundation of this entire course. Proper volume, cadence, and tonality. This is where you really are going to shine when you record your podcast and you send it out there for people to listen to. We already spoke about proper volume at about minus 15 to minus 3 dBs, peaking at minus 3 dBs. I showed you a video of that in a previous lesson. So if you have not seen that yet, you want to go back and look at that video. And also when it comes to volume, when we're speaking into a microphone, it's much different than speaking on stage and having to project your voice out into an audience. Because the microphone is picking everything up, it's being sent into a digital audio workstation. That voice is amplified when it comes to your headphones or speakers. And you don't need to have a large delivery when it comes to recording your voice on a podcast. It needs to be very subtle. So your volume, you don't want it to be too soft like this. And you don't want it to be too loud like this. You want it to be right in the middle. And it can fluctuate slightly, but you don't want it to fluctuate too much. You want it to be like the waves in a calm ocean, just like that. You don't want your volume going up and down too much. I analyze volume, cadence, and tonality when I get a recording of your audio so that I can check it out. And I do this with mine after every time I record. Now we get into the cadence. This is a big one because a lot of people don't really understand what it means to have proper cadence. You see, some people will talk very fast at some point, and then they slow down again. And then they talk very fast, and then they slow down again. That's annoying to the listener, and you don't want to do that. What you do want is to have a cadence that is very, very consistent, like I'm demonstrating right now. My voice is very consistent in the speed, and my pauses are very consistent in the length of the pause. We're going to get more into the power of the pause in just a second. But right now, we're just going to talk about the cadence. So there's two parts. There is the speed of your voice and the pause in between thoughts and in between sentences. Here's what you want to do. You want to practice by recording your voice and having a cadence that is very easy to listen to and comprehend from even somebody that's a very young age. And one of my business coaches many years ago said, speak as if you're talking to a first grader. You want to speak slowly, you want to speak clearly, and you want to have it very concise so that anybody at any age can understand it. So when you're speaking with proper cadence, you know that it, again, like the volume, it flows like an ocean. And it's very calm, very calming, but it also has some excitement to it, which we're going to get to in another section about adding excitement and energy to your voice because you don't want it to be flat and monotone. So the cadence has to be consistent. And then we get into tonality. With recording for audio formats such as a podcast, you don't want your tonality to be too high like this, and you don't want it to be too low like this. This is just unnatural. Now, I could speak to you all day like this from my chest, but it's not very good because it's just not going to sound very good long term. So I want to reach you at a mid-level tonality. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a low, 2 being very high-pitched, I'm going to have right about it a 5. I don't want you to strain to get too high notes, and I don't want you to strain to get too low notes. I want you to stay right in the middle. And it can vary. It's going to vary. You need to have a melody there because melody is going to be one of the other videos and other sections that I talk about, how to create melody, because you have to have a personality to your voice. So it can't be flat, but it also is not going up 2 or 3 different octaves. You're going to go just a little bit in pitch and a little lower in pitch, and you're going to vary that slightly so it has some personality to it. But when it comes to everything that you record on a podcast, it has to be done subtle and very calmly.